How do you identify entry points in the Forex market? How can you understand where the money is flowing in the currency market? Hi, I'm David, a macroeconomic and financial analyst with over 30 years of experience, specializing in currencies and commodities. Today, I will talk to you about Forex, probabilities, and volumes to help you understand and read the markets with greater clarity. What is Forex, or better yet, what really is Forex? Forex is 80% macroeconomic analysis. That's what gives you the underlying trend, the medium to long-term direction. The remaining 20% is probability, the likelihood that a currency or a currency pair will reach certain levels. This needs to be crystal clear from the outset. If you build your trading activity on weak foundations, sooner or later it will collapse. And when it collapses, you collapse with it. A strategy on its own is worthless. It's meaningless if it isn't backed by solid analysis. Don't be fooled by the idea of easy profits. There are no easy profits in life, and even fewer in trading. Fundamental analysis is a relatively straightforward concept. I have covered it in several videos, including a 2-part mini-course you can watch by clicking up here in the top right. But how do you use probability? First of all, it's more accurate to talk about subjective probability. Subjective probability is the degree to which you believe an event is likely to occur based on your knowledge, your experience, and your interpretation of the context. I understand this might all seem a bit complex, especially if you are just starting out and don't yet have the experience to perform this kind of analysis. However, volumes can really help, not just for beginners, but also for those looking to validate their market view. But I'm not talking about standard volume bars, the vertical columns under the chart, tall or short. I'm referring to the volume profile. The volume profile is an indicator that shows volume not by time, such as every 30 minutes, 4 hours, or once a day, depending on the time frame, but by price or exchange rate. So instead of telling you how many trades occurred during a specific time interval, it tells you the volume traded at each exchange rate. This isn't the time for a full lesson on the volume profile. I will just give you the essential basics, using the Euro-US dollar chart as an example. On the chart, you can see the last 8 months of the currency pair, with the volume profile displayed on the right-hand side. The light blue shading highlights the value area, the range of exchange rates, where 70% of the total volume has been traded. That percentage is customizable, but 70% is the standard setting. The upper boundary of the value area is called the value area high, while the lower boundary is the value area low. Each bar of the volume profile histogram is called a node. The areas where volume is significantly higher than average are known as high volume nodes, and the areas where it is much lower are called low volume nodes. The node with the highest volume overall is called the point of control, the exchange rate level where the greatest amount of trading has occurred. Both the high volume nodes and the point of control are particularly important levels, as they tend to act like magnets. The exchange rate often gravitates back towards them. This is extremely valuable information. It shows you where a countertrend move might come to an end, and where it makes sense to consider entering the market at statistically favorable levels. Now that you have grasped the basics, let me show you how to use this information. We are currently in a very particular market environment. Trump's shifting stance on tariffs, deteriorating macroeconomic indicators affecting the US dollar, and a dollar that is currently decoupled from equity markets have created a particularly uncertain backdrop. All this leads to outlooks that can shift overnight, making medium-term forecasts especially difficult. Looking at the volumes, Euro-US dollar has reached the value area high around the 1.09400 area. There it began a brief consolidation phase, followed by a minor pullback. However, only a move back below 1.07700, where we see a significant drop in volume, could suggest a temporary loss of bullish momentum. If that level breaks, the pair could drop towards the 1.05200 area, which, if breached, would open the door to a return to the key point of control level, around 1.04200. So far, though, this scenario has not materialized. It's just as likely that, after a short pause, Euro-US dollar resumes its climb beyond the value area high. Of course, any scenario must always be supported by relevant data or market events. But the goal of this video isn't to predict where Euro-US dollar will go in the coming weeks. What I want to show you is how the volume profile can help you identify the most significant levels for opening a position by interpreting the behavior of large institutional players. The areas where volume is heavily concentrated often act as exchange rate attractors. That's where it makes the most sense to look for an entry point, aligned with your analysis and the macroeconomic context. Over time, you will develop the skill to spot these levels even without chart tools. But early on, the volume profile can really guide you, offering a clear, objective view of key levels based on real traded volume. Before we wrap up, I also want to let you know that I have ended my partnership with TradingView and, as you may have noticed from the chart, I have started a new one with ProRealTime. I won't go into the pros and cons of each platform here. I will just say this: beyond a more human and attentive relationship, ProRealTime gives you access to several tools for free, including the volume profile. So as a first step, I recommend signing up to ProRealTime and exploring everything it offers with end-of-day data. The link is in the description. Now it's over to you. Have you already heard of the volume profile? Have you ever used it in your trading? Do you think it could be useful? Let me know in the comments. If you found this video helpful, support the channel for free with a like and subscribe to stay updated. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss any of my content. See you in the next video.